Fucking the UVTV, motherfucker. I'm at a kid spiritual ass and dudes for my people. On God. Nigga feather me in. Today I'm gonna be talking about the uterus, aka the belly of the beast, the reproductive muscle and organ of the womb man organism and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Based upon that play on words and stuff like that. Because I'm really just talking about woman, and from them being women, just in general, you know what I'm saying? Y'all basically like walking darkness. Y'all like walking vibrations. Y'all walking emotions. Y'all walking containers. Y'all basically walking mothers, nurturers, carers, and things of that nature. So y'all like to contain things. I'm really getting deep into it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna waste no time this time. Waste no time. We gonna get straight into it. You know what I'm saying? Cause I got everything already, all the different points and angles I'm gonna hit it with and stuff like that. I'm gonna get deep into it. I really don't gotta give that many preferences and stuff like that because I'm gonna talk about it anyway. But like, yeah, the uterus is a muscular organ of the female mammal for containing and usually for nourishing the young during developmental stages prior to birth, also considered the womb. Now, it being a muscle, right? Look at the muscle like you flexing on something. You know what I'm saying? On some flex music. You know what I'm saying? On some shit. But from it being like a muscle, it's like a tissue. So it's like something that you're building like the meat off the bone, all that type stuff. So from it being a muscle, it's like a power or an ability. And it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like a strength. So from you having that strength or you having that power, you having that ability, you're always gonna try to flex your muscles and stuff like that. And then from you flexing it, it's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Expand, contract, it going through that tension, that squeezing and stuff like that. So like how motherfuckers be exercising, they be going to the gym and stuff like that. All they doing is really just expanding their muscles. All they doing is just expanding their meat and stuff like that. All they doing is just expanding the ability and their power and the stamina and endurance they're able to take. And then they keep on building on to that as they keep on eating food to build on fat to basically what's it called? Like get rid of all that fat, but turn that fat into muscle for the most part. So it's gonna be more strength behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more cut. It's gonna be more what's the word? Like I'm trying to think of the word. Like it's gonna be more like umph behind it. It's not umph though. I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know why I can't think of the word right now. It's gonna be more like sturdiness behind it. Yeah. And from the uterus or the womb being a natural reproduction system and stuff like that, based upon the masculine and feminine, these are things within the mind first, based upon the space that we in. The same way how y'all look at the divine feminine and divine masculine and stuff like that. But I'm gonna talk about that too. Just look at masculine energy as like a walking thought, and then the feminine energy as a walking emotion, and it's just a mechanism. It's a transition. You're gonna turn an idea into a thought after you done thought about that idea, that spark of you germinating the seed, the starting point, the idea, and then you're gonna think about it, and then after thinking about it for a while, you're gonna start to feel a way about it, and then that feeling is gonna turn into a specific emotion. So you're essentially moving, and then that's the whole mechanism and stuff like that. And then after you done uh, actually actualize whatever feeling or emotion, really the emotion, it's the feeling, and it's going to turn to a Pacific feeling, and that Pacific feeling is really just an emotion. You know what I'm saying? You make that representation of whatever emotion that you in, and then you know exactly what type of emotion that you feel from you actualizing that experience and you bringing it to life, and then you do the whole mechanism all over again. You come with another idea based upon the previous emotion that you just experienced, so you can keep on having more sentience and more children. Your children will be like your sons and daughters. That's like a baby seed, a baby thought, or a baby feeling, basically a baby emotion for the most part. And you can have some bitch ass childs, you know what I'm saying? You can have some baby kids and stuff like that, or you can have some real fruitful type of children and stuff like that. That's why it's important to protect your imagination, because from you understanding your own imagination and you understanding your own power, for the most part, you're able to take care of your kids, aka your responsibilities. You're able to take care of your thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions that come that basically come into your mind, and you actually able to make that mind matter in reality, and you was able to bring your dreams, your visions, and your imagination to life, just in general. So it's important to create more of that, to make it more broad and more artistic, or more creative, or more everlasting, or more progressive for the most part, instead of being stuck into trying to relive the same degenerate as emotions and feelings over and over and stuff like that, and you're not really learning anything, and you're gonna keep on getting awareness of you doing the same shit over and over but different font type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a progression type of thing, because from us being spirits in the body and stuff like that, we're always trying to nourish our soul based upon what we're observing, what we're creating, and what we're experiencing. And we ain't gonna keep on trying to relive the same experiences. That's like you reliving the same lessons over and over until you finally get it, and then you're able to get out that pocket and put yourself in the unfamiliar, uncomfortable zone to make a new comfort zone. So it's like you going outside the box, and then once you go outside the box, you end up finding out a different pocket, a different power, a different ability, a different muscle that you can flex, a different thing that you could gain sentience on, that you lack awareness about, to gain awareness on it and pay attention to it. And then based upon what you're paying attention to, you're going to attract different energies towards it, aka you contain that energy, and it's going to turn into a different pocket that you could fulfill. Look at that as a womb, just in general. But I'm going to get into that. So from women being, well, really the uterus, yeah, it's a muscular organ, right? And from the woman species, just in general, having that organ, that's like their instrument, that's their tool, that's their device on a higher percentage scale. That's the thing they utilize to reproduce. They're like walking nurturers, mothers, containers for the most part. They're like walking attraction. They're a walking vibe. They're a walking emotion. And it comes after the fact. Like it comes, you know what I'm saying? It's like a mechanism. You can't have one without the other. You need the masculine and you need the feminine. You need the man and you need a woman. The man's gonna help create and build and show the direction of where we want to go based upon that certainty. And then women are like walking uncertainty. Basically, they're walking delusion, confusion type shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like a walking emotion and feeling. They're walking darkness. They can't see the light, and may well be like the walking guiding light or the masculine energy itself. And then the woman is gonna follow whatever the man is doing, aka them being the walking frequency, the walking awareness, the walking attention span. And then based upon that attention span, they're gonna attract other people to what the masculine energy or the direction or the creation, the building, the thought, the first intent behind it. And based upon whatever that intent, that first intent was, we're gonna try to build, I mean not build, we're gonna try to support or contain whatever the man or the masculine energy is building, just in general and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's where a lot of that patriarchy shit be coming from and stuff like that, and that hate man concept and all that type of stuff be coming from, because that's really what y'all doing. Y'all need some type of masculine or man example of what people are paying attention to, and you're gonna attract people to whatever they paying attention to. If they pay attention to a lot of degenerate shit, you're gonna try to attract a lot of different people as a woman, or you being feminine energy. You want people to soak all that shit up based upon, on a higher percentage scale, that's what people paying attention to. So that lets you know the mentality a lot of these people in the shadow government be in and stuff like that, from the fact they even programming y'all to be in that type of mentality. That lets you know they be thinking like bitches, they be thinking like females and stuff like that. That's really a different video, but like, yeah. But on a higher percentage scale, right, this is how women be, you know what I'm saying? This is how they balance themselves. That's why they be having menstrual cycles. I'm gonna talk about that too. But from them having that uterus, that womb, that organ, it's like their instrument and tool and device, and that's the thing they naturally utilize to reproduce, and that's the thing that's going to make them a woman in the first place. And they start to understand their feminine energies. Look at that as them being attractive and stuff like that. Them caring about the imagery. They're caring about how something looks. Them caring about the emotion. Them basically caring about it being nurtured, it being cared for. You taking care of your responsibilities. You reacting in the right emotional intelligence and things of that nature. Now, the way we be looking at mammals and stuff like that, right? Look at it being a mammal, right? Or like, well, men and women, we're a type of animal, right? We're basically a Pacific type of animal, which is just a mammal. Look at that as just a Pacific animal or a creature. Look at that like a characteristic, just in general. The same way how you look at a pig and stuff like that. Okay, what do pigs like to do? They like to feed. So if you think like a pig, that's you overindulging. You're feeding too much. That's like you not minding your business and stuff like that. You're overindulging in something you probably shouldn't be overindulging. And you need to release, or you need to stop paying attention to that, because it's starting to cloud up your judgment because you keep on eating too much. Like eating in the mind type shit. You know what I'm saying? You're overwhelming yourself. You making yourself fat spiritually. So if you're in a fat ass space and stuff like that, you're gonna be moving all slow and sluggish and all that type shit, and you're gonna try to feed the beast. You're gonna try to feed more, and you don't know how to be quick on your feet and fast like a skinny motherfucker, like Usain Bolt and stuff like that, and that starts to wane on your comprehension skills because you're starting to think like a pig. You get it? So another example is kind of like a flock. It's kind of like a fox. So a fox is sly. So from them being sly or like clever or maniacal and manipulative and stuff like that, So that's like you being really conniving or like cunning or like witty. You're able to talk yourself out of a situation. You're able to make someone think otherwise by making them pay attention to something else, but really you're just trying to manipulate the situation. So that's like females who are really foxy or like really sexy and stuff like that. Okay, they're a bad bitch. They basically a bitch that make you do bad things. You know what I'm saying? They able to utilize their attractiveness to make you think otherwise, to make you pay attention to something else and get away from your first intent as a man and stuff like that, aka the overall awareness or your thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. But you can't focus on the first intent or your thoughts and ideas or you locking in or you being focused and you concentrating and stuff like that. Because you can't concentrate because you seeing big ass titties in your face and a big ass and a, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a curvy ass woman and stuff like that who got a pussy and stuff like that. Like, they be knowing what the fuck they be doing, but I'm trying to make y'all understand. So from us being mammals and stuff like that, right? We're like a type of animal, so we're a type of creature. So we're God's creation in a sense because we're sentient and we have our own mind. And I just explained the mind of a fox, and I also just explained a mind of a pig. So look at these things as different characteristics. And as humans, we come up with different characteristics. That's why when it comes to humanity, y'all be like kind, compassionate, or being super sympathetic. That's humanistic thinking. Now we're basically utilizing human vessels and we're doing things for mankind, but doing things for mankind or the humanistic mind state is to do things in a one-of-a-kind type of way so we can think beyond just the humanistic mind state. Y'all be getting lost into the humanistic mind state though. Y'all be trying to come back as humans, but that's why y'all keep on coming back as humans and not something more intelligent. So the same way how we look at animals and like pets like dogs and cats, we're more intelligent than them, and we're also a type of animal, but we are a completely different comprehension scale, intelligence compared to them because of this thing I'm talking about right now and stuff like that, based upon our awareness and what we observe and what we basically created for ourselves. We went through enough experiences to take a human vessel, and that lets you know, just in general, we went through a lot of different attention spans and a lot of different observations and a lot of different experiences to where we could handle this vessel and have more intelligence than a regular animal like a fucking wild cat or a wild dog and stuff like that. And we able to act more domestic and civilized instead of being in our lower animalistic natures, aka being barbaric and things of that nature. So we're trying to think beyond humanistic mind state. So being overly sympathetic and all that type of stuff. Overly sympathetic and compassionate. It's not to say you can't be kind. It's not to say you can't be friendly sometimes. It's not to say you can't be compassionate. It's not to say you can't have sympathy for someone. But when you start to think too much like that and too much into humility, humility and being humble and stuff like that, that's how your whole thing end up getting taken advantage of, and then your ass end up getting snaked and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't trying to understand your other animalistic natures. You're not trying to understand your other characters, your other charismas, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to act out different characters. We're trying to act out different animals. We're trying to act out different creatures. So it's the same way how you look at the zodiac wheel and stuff like that. It represents a whole bunch of different animals and stuff like that. Characteristics, creatures. You know what I'm saying? So different charismas and stuff like that, based upon the different sun pockets and sun transitions and stuff like that. But that's us doing it on a micro scale. And then on a micro scale and things of that nature, that's us understanding our internal natures. The micro scale of that would be like the seasonal transitions and Aries through Pisces and all that type of stuff. And those specific time slots of when to act out those certain natures. So Aries will be the cardinal portion of spring, and then Taurus will be the fixated portion of spring, and then Gemini will be the mutable portion of spring, and therefore and stuff like that. That's like the micro scale of it. The micro scale is basically us understanding that on an internal level. So look at that as you acting as a springtime. During that time, you need to act in ways of growth, abundance, germinated a seed, flowering and blooming. During the summertime, being lively, enthusiastic, passionate, trying to bring your ideas to life based upon what you did during the springtime. Fall time, making something mature, and then it going through a harvest season as well. You able to take something that was fully mature and was able to grow, and now it's going to start becoming more cold, dead, distant, aka like the leaves falling during the fall time, and it changing colors. So from it changing color spectrums and stuff like that, it's starting to deteriorate. You can't keep on relying on those same mind states based upon those first ideas during spring and summertime. So you need to go through that harvest season and harvest all the crops before it becomes wintertime, because that's when things become more cold, dead, distant, and inactive. And from it being cold, dead, distant, and more inactive, is going to be frozen. Basically, it's gonna be frozen, and you ain't gonna be able to utilize those things no more. And to actually survive the winter, you have to be in that what they call that, like a recreational type of mind state. You have to try to recreate high temperament mentalities. Look at that as like high hanging fruit during low temperatures. So consider it's more low temperature, it's low hanging fruit. So it's gonna be hard to try to plant a seed during the wintertime because it's cold as fuck. You see that in reality. So it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So you need to hone in and save up on what you did during the spring and summertime to go through that harvest season. So even during the wintertime, you still able to be a cold motherfucker. Being cold as in being able to still utilize that ability based upon you basically recreating that to where you can survive that winter or survive that cold, harsh weather and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just making allegories so it makes sense. But like I was saying before, because humans are basically a type of animal, and that specific animal or creature is a mammal, is us acting out that nature in itself on a higher scale and a lower scale. The lower scale will be like what I'm talking about right now, what the uterus actually does in reality of how it reproduce, but we also reproduce in the mind. This is how you reproduce different ideas when it comes to the mind, so you can make more kids, you can make more children. You know what I'm saying? You're having sex within the mind, sexual intercourse and stuff like that. You're taking two or more different energies to make another energy. A man going inside the twat to fulfill that womb, that seed, to create more children. And it's going to result in a son or it's going to result in a daughter. The sun would be like a walking sun, and then the moon will be, and then the daughter will be like the walking moon. The sun will be how it want to be seen, or the source in the light, the enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? And the action, and then the moon or the daughter will be like the womb or the nurture, the care. It will be like the reaction to what the sun is doing. It's the reflection of what the sun is doing. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's the emotion and feeling or the attraction based upon what was paid attention to. Like I was saying before, like all these different things are all saying the same thing. I'm just utilizing all those different examples to where you can see, oh, okay, I see that in reality when it comes to a whole bunch of different things. And I'm just using those different things to describe what that is, so you can understand the masculine and feminine from a divine nature, right? And you can see how on a higher percentage scale of how you see it in a natural basis, like the pure state of being, and then how it basically gets impure. Not impure like as in bad. I'm basically trying to say impure as in it starts to get turned into a shape and form into reality. And that's why we have motherfuckers walking around with big ass dicks, and then we have women walking around with big ass fat coochies and stuff like that, and them trying to have sex with each other and stuff like that. And that's the lower hanging fruit version of what that is. But we're able to bring these children to life, all the way down to actually making kids in the physical and stuff like that. But you're also doing that spiritually, and then you're also doing that mentally, and it creates the flesh, the organ, and then we actually see that in the external world. You get what I'm saying? It's a spirit, mind, body, external world concept. Spring, summer, fall, winter. It's the same thing on all different levels, all different scales. It's just I'm explaining it in a way that most people don't be paying attention to, and then the minute you start talking like that, a scientist is gonna call you pseudo. Even though they all saying the same thing, they just make up different scientific technologies and terminologies to try to study it, to try to make sense out of it, so they can make some robot that act like a human, but they never gonna be human. They're never gonna be sentient. They're never gonna be alive and stuff like that. It's never gonna be the same thing. But yeah, the womb is like the belly of the beast, aka the belly of the creature. It's the container of the creature. So it's like an empty void, pocket, hole, gap. Or if you into astrology, it's like the house, right? So you like to take care of the household. So it's like a container. So just like the different houses in astrology and stuff like that, like the first house, the second house, the third house and stuff like that, it's just different containers. It's just in that house, like the sun being in the fourth house or something like that, or Mars being in the 12th house and stuff like that. Is in that container. It's a thing that acts on its own, like the sun and the moon, right? It being a celestial heavenly body, but it's in that womb, is basically in that parameter, is in that pocket, is in that container, and it likes to be enclosed and enveloped in that house. So once that energy is inside that household, that's how it's conducted in that household. That's why when it comes to certain planetary alignments and stuff like that, it likes to be in certain houses compared to other houses, because what the minute it's inside something that's more favorable, is gonna suit that planetary body, or look at that as that world view. So that world view would go with that particular household and stuff like that. So that's like I'm gonna give an example. That's like having Mercury in the third house. Okay, Mercury likes to be in the third house because the third house deals with familiarity and your environment and close friends and family and stuff like that, and not just like reality based. It just means something within close proximity, right? So it's like the house of communications. I'm gonna use what they be saying online and stuff like that. Like, even though I don't be looking at it like that, but it is the same thing though. Like, oh, the third house, the house of communications. Okay, what's Mercury? Thinking, communicating, articulation, analyzing, right? That's everything deal with Mercury, and it be really fast paced. That's why it rules over Gemini and Virgo for the most part. So it's the house of communication. So it's always gonna fit into the third and the sixth house. It's always gonna fit into that particular pocket, that particular container, that particular house, that particular womb. You get what I'm saying? Because it's gonna nurture that household. It's gonna nurture that characteristic, or all those different characteristics. It's gonna nurture that celestial body. It's gonna nurture that organism wants to walk inside the house. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, yeah, like the womb is just the belly of the beast or the creature, and it's just an empty pocket. It's just an empty pocket, hole, gap, or house, and it likes to be fulfilled. So once you start to walk inside that house and stuff like that, you're gonna tend to the house, that container, and you're gonna add things onto that house, and you like to fulfill the household so you can feel at home and comfortable for the most part. So it's the same way when, you know what I'm saying? Like on some breeding shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like I'm talking like mad X-rated, but like y'all get what I'm trying to say? Like on some breeding shit, when a man starts to put his seed inside of a pussy or a coochie, right? And he ends up ejaculating inside the womb, is gonna fulfill that womb for the most part. So it's like a man or woman, regardless, walking inside a household and stuff like that. Oh, we're gonna buy this new house. It's an empty house. We went through the whole real estate agency and all that type of stuff. Oh, we really like this household. We want to make this house into a home, and we're going to fulfill this house with a whole bunch of different things. So, this is our house. You get it? So we, you know what I'm saying? We're giving life to it. We're going to fulfill that pocket. We're going to fulfill that void. We're going to fulfill that parameter and stuff like that. We're going to fulfill that womb. So it likes to plant seeds. Seeds are like a cell. Right? So from it being a cell, it's like a small room, container, or a cage. So that's what a womb is. It's like a small room, container, or cage. And and then based upon that seed, the female seed is just an ovum, and it germinates, grows, and becomes fertilized / springs off. So from the females naturally producing eggs, seeds, ovums, it's gonna end up germinating, growing, and becoming more fertilized, and that's basically what leads to the menstrual cycle. But I didn't even get there yet. But just in general, right? It houses the developing fetus by contractions, which aids in childbirth, and the fetus is just unborn. It's just an unborn child. So look at that as like a seed. So that's like you planting a seed for something that hasn't grown yet, for the most part, and you're planting that seed. It hasn't came out as a sapling or anything yet. It hasn't come out the ground. It ain't developed no roots and stuff like that. It's the first day you just now put that seed in the ground, and you put it to fertilize, and you just now started to water it and stuff like that. Look at that as like an allegory. So it makes sense of how you're doing this spiritually. You're doing this mentally. It's the same thing. It's like you trying to plant the seeds to accomplish that dream or accomplish that aspiration, that goal. And it's your first day doing it and stuff like that. So you just put that seed into the ground, and you starting to put the fertilizer and water that seed and stuff like that. So it's like an unborn child. So it's a fetus at this point. And you can either plant a good seed that's gonna grow and be abundant, or you're basically gonna end up planting a bad seed. So during the menstrual cycle, right, the lining of the uterus undergoes changes that permits the implantation of a fertilized egg, and menstruation is just a period. So from like when women start to go through a period, that's like you going through in an extent of time. So a time period, you know what I'm saying? Like an age, it starts to grow up and mature. So it goes from a child to adolescence to adult to a young adult until it starts to get old and outdated and stuff like that. And that's literally what the menstrual cycle is. So like it's the beginning and end of the development of the men and women. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna manifest and materialize all the way down to what happens when it comes to the menstruation cycle. You know what I'm saying? The menstrual cycle, they period and stuff like that. It's just the development of men for women, but it's inside the womb and the uterus and them go through that period. So when that thing get germinated and it starts to actually go through that menstrual cycle and stuff like that, they start to bleed and stuff like that, and then it's gonna go through its different phases, the same way how you go through the different moon phases and the moon cycles and stuff like that. So like I was saying before, with women being walking moons, right, they're going through their moon cycle or phase, and it's waxing, becoming full, and waning. So it's the same way where if they didn't get pregnant or they ain't let no men ejaculate inside of them, the egg just isn't fertilized, so it's just gonna release instead of it holding onto it, and it's gonna actually create a fetus and create a baby and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like how you get impregnated. But in general, you're impregnating the mind first, from you impregnating that idea to make it actually grow inside the womb, and then you actually gonna let it get birth or release. Look at that as manifesting and materializing, just in general. So, like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. It's just the development of men and women, the thoughts and ideas, feelings and emotions from a mental, spiritual standpoint. And that's what actually happens in reality when it comes to reproduction, when it comes to actually trying to make a kid and actually going through childbirth and all that type stuff, and the pregnancy 9-month cycle and all that type stuff. So the masculine energy is just creating, providing, expanding, releasing, or fulfilling the pocket. And then the feminine energy is just maintaining, absorbing, containing, contracting, or draining the pocket. So it's like what I was saying before, the when women are like walking moons, so they're just a reflection of what the sun is doing, right? It's just reflecting or reacting or going through an emotion and feeling based upon how the sun want to be seen, or the father, or the direction, or the attention span, or the externalization, or the expansion, right? Is going to go through that contraction stage. So it's like a moon cycle in phase. So it's going to wax. So from it waxing, it's like you fulfilling the pocket. And once it's full, aka a full moon, right, it's gonna get completely fulfilled, and then it's just the heightened peak point of that emotion and feeling, and then it's gonna go through that waning portion, and that's the feminine portion, right? It's gonna go through that draining portion, or look at that as basking, right? So when it's starting to get drained, that's when you're supposed to bask in whatever you got fulfilled in. And then it's the same thing when you go through the menstrual cycle when it comes to women and stuff like that, right? Where the germinating seeds and stuff like that, they get released, right? And that's when you go through that ovulation period and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It get released and then ends up dying off, and then it basically ends up growing again and stuff like that. So the same way how you see the moon cycle and the moon phases and stuff like that, you go through different moods. You go through different comfort zones and stuff like that, different emotions and feelings the minute you get on your period and all that type stuff. And then the minute it get released and you start feeling all horny, all that type shit, the ovulation period is actually get released and stuff like that. Right, you do the whole thing all over again and stuff like that. And that's just the power of being a woman. But in general, I just explained it on a higher perspective from the spiritual, mental standpoint and things of that nature. And that's that on a physical standpoint as well. So women are just walking containers. So from them being walking containers, men help women know how to let go of things or expand the womb, expand the container and stuff like that. The same way how a baby starts to grow inside a woman's belly and stuff like that, and they go through the different contractions and expansions, the belly end up getting bigger. So that's like you going outside the household to get more information or get more furniture or get more things to add on to the household to make it built or look more enticing, look more look more built, look more enticing, look more creative or whatever. And then women, they like to maintain or nurture or maintain, nurture, like I was saying before, maintain, nurture, drain, absorb. So they like to be absorbed into what the household actually has, just in general. So they want to maintain how it look, so they can keep on creating more. So men help women how to let go of things or to expand or think outside the box or outside the pocket, so you can add more things or get just a bigger womb, a bigger house, just in general. I'm just using that as an allegory. And then women help men learn how to hold on to something, absorb something, have more emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's not all about gaining attention or creating or building and stuff like that. What are you trying to create? What are you trying to build? What's the supporting system? You know what I'm saying? What's the meaning and reasoning to why you think like that? Why are you trying to externalize? Why are you trying to create? What's the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the purpose behind why you doing it in the first place? And then that's it. So masculine would be trying to make something more broad, and then feminine would be trying to make something more condensed for the most part. So just in general, it will be like you looking at the atmosphere or the father sky, and then that would be the masculine, and then the feminine would be like the mother land. How you gonna take care of the land based upon the atmosphere that we in, based upon the world that we in, and how we want it to be seen, and how you gonna maintain the land based upon the world that we in. You know what I'm saying? So what's the womb? What are you inside of? What's the interior? You know what I'm saying? How is it going to look? How are we going to attract based upon what we're paying attention to, the awareness, and how we want to be seen, and how we want to create and build more, and how we're going to act upon it. And then the feminine or the womb man and stuff like that, right? They're going to try to contain it, maintain it, absorb into it, try to support whatever the atmosphere or direction that we're going to go in the first place. That's why niggas have dicks and they get erect, right? And from them getting erect, it's going to go up, right? And then woman going to try to, the feminine energy is like trying to make something go down, but going down as in condense instead of expanding. No, let's not actually get outside the comfort zone. Let's not go outside trying to nurture, or you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not actually go outside the household and stuff like that. We already got what we got right here. Let's not try to go outside our hood or our neighborhood and stuff like that. We already got what we got right here. And then even if we don't got it, let's create a circumstance, a situation to where we can keep on creating where we at, so we don't have to go that far out and all that type of stuff. See, now it's going to go into some Native American type of shit for the most part, and try to maintain kinship and maintain family and all that type of stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like a foreigner gonna get confused. And then look, I know I'm a foreigner because I'm black and I'm African American, stuff like that. But the way my mind be working, I'll be thinking way outside of that too. You know what I'm saying? That Americanized concept based upon what Warner Bros. And Sony done taught us and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and commercials and TV shows and movies and all that type shit. I be understanding it though, but other than that, yeah, that's it. That's understanding the uterus, aka the belly of the beast, or the reproductive muscle and organ, and the womb man organism just in general, and the role that they actually play. And once women start to understand that on a higher percentage scale, they can learn how to understand their own feminine energy, and then it's gonna make it so they can have more mental fortitude and strength when it comes to trying to externalize more, so they can build upon that woman like energy to make it more man like, and then men cause actually gain more emotional intelligence, and they start to understand how to get better at creating their own womb mentally and spiritually, not physically and stuff like that. When you start making all physical and stuff like that, that's when you start getting confused into the external world and stuff like that, and then you end up emasculating yourself, and then you start wondering why you going through the shit you going through as a man and stuff like that, and then now you got erectile dysfunction and all that type shit. And it's not just because you going through it physically. No, you went through that state of being, state of awareness spiritually, and you was having all that type of shit in your mind, all the way down to receiving and overwhelming yourself and stuff like that, all the way down to physically, to where you can't even get it up. You can't even get it up. You can't even get up where you can't even have no big dick energy or nothing like that. You can't even drop your nuts about nothing and stuff like that, because you had too much feminine, femcell, incel, internalization shit on your mind and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? That all that sympathetic type of mind state in your mind and stuff like that, compassionate and stuff like that, man. You just let everyone just play with you, bro. You just let everyone just play with you as a man and all that type shit. And then women, man, don't be letting no man try to play with you and your ability to be a walking sorceress, witch and stuff like that, and being a bad bitch and all that type stuff.